Tesla sits parked in a lot. Inside the Tesla lies the body of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. The car is soon confirmed to be registered to a rising music star, David Anthony Burke, better known to the world as D4VD, the artist behind viral hits like Romantic Homicide. In this video, we're going to carefully unpack everything we know so far. We'll explore who D4VD is, who Celeste Rivas was, what authorities have confirmed, and why this case has captured so much attention around the world. We'll separate fact from speculation, and we'll also look at the larger issues this tragedy brings into focus: celebrity culture, accountability, and the dangers of blurred boundaries between fame and real life. But before we begin, one important note: this is a developing case. At the time of this recording, no official charges have been filed against D4VD in connection to Celeste's death. Everything we present here will come from verified reports, and any speculation circulating online will be clearly labeled as such. With that in mind, let's start from the beginning. Who is David? To understand why this case shook the world, we need to step back and ask, who is David? David Anthony Burke was born in 2005 in Queens, New York, and later grew up in Houston, Texas. He wasn't a kid born into fame, nor did he have the kind of industry connections that often launch careers. Instead, like so many Gen Z artists, his rise came from the internet, bedroom recordings, shared on platforms like YouTube and TikTok. At just 17 years old, David uploaded a song that would change his life forever: Romantic Homicide. The track, dark, emotional, and raw, resonated instantly with millions of listeners. Its haunting hook made the rounds on TikTok, and suddenly David wasn't just another teenager making music in his room. He was a viral sensation. Record labels noticed, fans multiplied. His songs, filled with themes of heartbreak, loneliness, and existential dread, spoke directly to young audiences. In a world where mental health struggles and complicated relationships were common conversations, David's music became a kind of soundtrack for those unspoken feelings. Soon after, another track, Here With Me, cemented his place in the industry. It wasn't just the numbers, though the streams were in the hundreds of millions, it was the atmosphere he created. David's voice carried a mix of fragility and intensity that listeners couldn't ignore. By 18, he was performing on festival stages, featured in major music publications, and labeled as one of the new voices of his generation. To many fans, David wasn't just an artist, he was relatable. He was that kid from the internet who somehow turned bedroom confessions into global anthems. But here's the twist: the same internet that gave him fame would later turn its spotlight back on him. This time, not for music, but for something far darker. Because in September 2024, David's name appeared in headlines for reasons no one could have imagined. As the registered owner of a Tesla where the lifeless body of a 15-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas, was found. As a girl who never got the chance to live out her teenage years. Celeste Rivas. She was only 15 years old, a young girl with her whole life ahead of her, remembered by friends and family as bright, curious, and full of potential. In news reports, her name quickly became tied to the tragedy. She was someone's daughter, someone's friend, someone who deserved far more than an early and unexplained death. At 15, she was still figuring out who she wanted to be, still learning what it meant to step into the wider world. But on that September morning, her story ended in a way no one could have predicted. All right, I'll keep flowing through the script without pausing. Here's the continuation.
The details remain painfully scarce. Authorities confirmed her body was found inside a Tesla, parked in Houston. That car was registered to David Anthony Burke. Authorities released limited details. As of now, there has been no official statement directly linking David to Celeste's cause of death. No charges have been filed against him. What we know is that a 15-year-old girl was found dead in a car registered to a rising music star. And that fact alone was enough to set the internet ablaze. Fans who once filled comment sections with love for David's music now flooded social media with questions, shock, and suspicion. Was there a connection between him and Celeste? Were they involved in any way? And if so, how could a 15-year-old end up in the orbit of a 19-year-old rising celebrity? The questions grew louder as screenshots, stories, and unverified claims began circulating online. But at this point, the official record remains limited. The police investigation is ongoing, and what exactly happened inside that car, or in the days leading up to it, has yet to be revealed. Internet reaction and speculation. Soon as Celeste's name was connected to David's, the internet lit up. Twitter threads, TikTok videos, and Instagram posts dissected every detail of David's past. Old lyrics were revisited, social media accounts were scanned, and rumors spread at lightning speed. Some alleged that David had been in relationships with underage girls before, pointing to supposed chat logs and anonymous claims. Others pushed back, demanding evidence and urging people not to jump to conclusions. An alleged ex-girlfriend even surfaced online, claiming she had dated David when she herself was underage, and suggesting that his relationship with Celeste might not have been an isolated case. But here's the crucial point. These are allegations, not confirmed facts. While the internet thrives on speculation, courts do not. At this stage, there is no verified evidence proving that David was directly responsible for Celeste's death. Yet the speculation itself became part of the story, fueling public outrage, deepening mistrust, and ensuring this case would not fade quietly into the background. Legal and ethical questions. The case also reopens an uncomfortable conversation: the blurred lines of age, fame, and accountability. In Texas, where David lived, the age of consent is 17. Celeste was only 15. Any romantic or sexual relationship between them would be illegal, and that fact alone, even before considering her death, casts a heavy shadow over the situation. But beyond the legal boundaries are the ethical ones. David wasn't just any 19-year-old. He was a public figure, someone with power, influence, and reach. If he was interacting with minors in ways that crossed lines, it wasn't just dangerous, it was exploitative. This is why the internet exploded with anger. Because whether or not David directly caused Celeste's death, the circumstances that placed her in his car are deeply troubling. They force us to question how celebrity culture, social media, and unchecked access can place vulnerable teenagers in harm's way. Psychological and cultural analysis. Why do stories like this grip us so tightly? Part of the answer lies in parasocial relationships, the one-sided bonds fans build with celebrities. To David's fans, he wasn't just a singer. He was a voice that understood them, someone who turned heartbreak and loneliness into art. Many fans saw themselves in his lyrics. So when his name appeared in connection with a real-life tragedy, it felt like a betrayal. The same voice that once provided comfort was now tied to something unthinkable. The cognitive dissonance was too great to ignore. One thing must never be lost in the noise: the memory of Celeste Rivas, a girl who should have had decades of life ahead of her. And until justice, whatever form it may take, is served, her story will remain a haunting reminder of how fragile the line between fame and tragedy can truly be.